I'm Josh Michaelis, Cane Stream Media, and raising puppies and getting a puppy from birth to treeing coons consistently is my favorite part of hunting with hounds. And so I'm going to take you on a little journey. We're going to outline some of the things that I do for those first 0 to 4 months, which to me, I think are the most important parts of a young dog's life. These are the most important parts of training. This is the base, this is the foundation. This is what everything gets built upon. I know it's a cliche, build a strong base, but it is a fact. These are the most important 4 months of a puppy's life, I think, especially for training ease in the future and for your own sanity, to be honest. It's not for everybody, so if you're thinking about raising a litter, if you're thinking about picking up that 6, 7, 8 week old wean puppy, and you haven't done it before, I'm hoping that this video gives you some insight as to how I do it. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. I'm trying to raise a winning coonhound, and so I'm going to do some things differently. I'm also very meticulous. Probably some of the things I do aren't necessary, but they've worked in the past, so I'm going to keep doing them. My success rate over the last 8, 10, 12 puppies from birth to 12 months old, as far as just being a serviceable dog that will tree you some game by itself, is 100%. And so I'm going to share with you some of the things that I do to get that puppy started. And we're going to start in one of three. We're going to go with, I've got a 12-month-old pup out here right now called Shame that I really like. He's been doing really well, so we're going to kind of outline what I've done with him. And a lot of these pictures and videos and images that you're going to see are of him and me chronicling these first years. So in part 1 of 3, we're going to talk about what I've done with Shame and with my last, I don't know, 8 or 10, 12 puppies for that first 4 months. I think it's real important. You guys enjoy. Hope this helps. So going from this, as far as a puppy goes, to this is it seems to be, I should say, one of the most daunting tasks in hound sports, in working dog sports in general. To me, a good competition coonhound, one that can win consistently and do the things that we want it to do, is probably the toughest type of dog train. If not, it's right there, very close. Maybe a protection dog, a high level protection dog would be above it, but we ask these dogs to do so much, so much. And so that's why it is important for the first 0 to 4 months to set a rock solid foundation. And for me, building that foundation starts the day they're born. Now, most of my pups are born right here. Most of the people watching this have probably picked up a wean pup somewhere 6, 8 weeks old. And so this is not necessarily going to apply to you and yours specifically, but I wanted to touch on it. To me, I'll turn this camera around. Being able to handle the pups is so important. Those pups need picked up every single day. They need held every single day. They need human contact every single day. So these whelping boxes, they're easy to get to. They're easy for the kids to come in, grab a puppy or two. And one thing that I do love, you just heard that door go off. I love those slam doors. Those slam doors make it to where not only is there loud noises available around the pup all the time, but it's when their mother comes in a lot of times. So it's feeding time. You know, that big loud bang that slam door makes when mom walks in and out. Maybe it doesn't make a difference, but I have found that it keeps from getting a puppy gun shy, backwards, scared of things, as well as all the other things that I do, because that is the one thing that you cannot have with the coonhound pup. So I wanted to touch on that from 0 to 6 weeks old, 7 weeks old, 8 weeks old, until that puppy finds its new home. They get handled all the time. The kids are always playing with them. I make sure and pick every single pup up every day, hold it for a little bit, put it back down, even before the eyes are open, all that stuff. It is important to know that, you know, your female's not testy with you handling the pups and stuff like that, and I've never had that problem yet, but it can occur. So keep that in mind. The pups need to be around you. I don't care how old they are. Usually after 3 or 4 days, I'm picking them up, and I pick them up every day. Me or the kids, usually me, sometimes all of us. I pick them up every day before they leave this house. Anybody that buys a pup off of me knows the pups are well adjusted. They travel well already. They do all those things, all because they're used to people. They're used to different situations. They're used to be carried around by different people. And, they're just not scared. And that's a big deal when it comes to Coonhound puppies. So, with that, let's take you into picking your Coonhound pup. When it comes to picking a new Coonhound puppy from another breeder, it's not something I do very often. I've done it in the past, um, had good success. So maybe picking puppies is not always the crapshoot that people think it is. The main thing is do your research into the litter and the breeder before you ever have to worry about picking a puppy. If you do that right, you're going to be way better served than to have some method that comes to picking out which puppy you decide you were going to take home with you. But when that opportunity does come, when you do go to that really good breeder and you do pick up that puppy, the main thing you want to do is make sure that it is a puppy that is bold and will come to you and will not be scared or timid or backwards in any way, because that is one of the most difficult things, like we've touched on before, to overcome for a young dog. If they are raised the right way, normally that's not going to happen. And so, if you've done your research and you've done all of your due diligence, and the breeder has done theirs, which I assume they have, or you wouldn't be at their house picking up a puppy right now, you will be just fine. Good breeders equal good puppies, and that is pretty much all there is to picking one. Other than that, pick out a male or a female, whichever you prefer. Pick out the one that you think will look the best when it gets older, and make sure it's not scared of anything. Easy peasy. Yeah. Otherwise, there is just not a lot to it. Pick a male or a female, whichever one suits you best at the time. Try to pick the best looking one and try to pick the boldest one. You do that, you get it from a reputable breeder, out of two good parents, both of which have the traits that you're looking for. You're probably going to be just fine picking your puppy. But what do you do when you get it home? All right, guys, thanks for watching part one, 0 to 4 months. Remember, part two is available for the members. All you have to do, hit that join button. You get rights to exclusive content if you're a silver member or above. Bronze members get the rights to all of our live content that's coming up in 2025. And so, yeah, make sure join. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what keeps the bills paid, and that's what keeps us bringing content like this to you. So thanks again. Enjoy. Back to the show. All right. You got your new puppy. You got it picked out. You got the one you wanted. It is bold. It is pretty. It is bred the way you want it to be bred. It is healthy. Man, you are really excited. And then you get it home. And the hard work starts. The first few days, nights, are usually the most miserable with your new puppy. To me, I think it is important to make sure that puppy's probably crated in with you, in the house, in the porch, whatever, because the first thing that puppy's going to do the minute you leave it alone is start barking. And it's going to continue to bark and whine and cry for very long, extended periods of time. And it's going to be annoying to not only you, but your family members, your neighbors, whatever situation you might be in. So to me, it's important to keep the puppy crated inside for at least the first couple days. Introduce it to its outside kennel if it's going to be an outside dog slowly. The best way to do that to me is feeding time. Usually these puppies are big eaters at that age. Let it run loose in the yard, let it play, get it outside, go to the bathroom, all the things it needs to do. Feed it inside that kennel. It's going to run in there. It's going to enjoy eating. You're going to say kennel. It's going to go in. It's going to eat. It's going to associate its kennel with its food, and that is going to make a difference. Now, when you transition that puppy, it is going to bark. Uh, when you leave it out that first night, it is going to bark, and there are ways to fix it. I prefer just a little bitty squirt with a garden hose and tell it to hush. It doesn't hurt the pup, especially if it's summertime. Usually they don't get too mad about it. If that puppy knows the tone of your voice, it doesn't take long. These are smart dogs. Hounds do not get the credit that they deserve for being smart dogs, especially at a young age. When you tell it to hush and you do it in a gruff voice, you'll even hear me now. Something's in the yard, dogs are barking in the kennels. I'll go out, I'll give a hush. And they know just from my tone change and from the command that they need to quit barking. Your puppy is going to pick up on that. It's going to take a while. You're not going to, you can't put a bark collar on the puppy. You can't, correct it really for barking other than gently. But it does not take them very long. 2-3 days, if you do it right, that puppy is going to be quiet in the kennel until it sees you outside. And my advice from then on out is when you walk outside, you're in the yard for a little bit. I don't care whether it's, 5 minutes or 2 hours. Just open that crate up, open that kennel up, let that puppy go. All right, let him learn, let him explore. And for those first 2-3 weeks at your house, either in the kennel or in the house, it is very important for you to keep handling that puppy. You want it in your hands every day for at least a little bit. You want it running loose every day for just a little bit. And then you're going to continue on. You're going to hit that 3-month range. And that puppy's getting ready to transition into learning to be hauled in the dog box, which is very, very important to me. At 10 to 12 weeks, they're taking their first dog box ride, whether it be on the four-wheeler, in the truck, or whatever. And it is very important to make those trips short, very short, across the road. And what I like to do is not let it run loose in the yard first if I'm going to put it in the dog box and take it somewhere. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do when I haul that puppy the very first time is I'm going to pick it up in its kennel. I'm holding it up here. It's licking my face. It's all excited. It's happy. Put it in the dog box, shut the door, immediately make the shortest trip that you can make. Preferably to some woods with water. So luckily I'm in a situation where I can go right across the road. I go right across the road, a quarter mile. I get out, the puppy's freaked out because it's in the dog box. I pick it up immediately. It's at my face again. I'm petting it. Good boy, good girl. Put it on the ground. Looky here. It's a whole new world for that pup. That pup's going to enjoy running. It's going to enjoy doing all those things. And it's going to enjoy exploring new things. Take it, walk it. These are the only times between 10 weeks old, when I first show it the dog box, 10 to 12 weeks, first show it the dog box, to the first time I start taking it out at night, coon hunting with some older dogs. This is the only time I walk a pup. This is the only time that I will walk a pup through the woods. I'll never do it again other for this 4 to 6 weeks. Never. I think that continuously walking a pup that doesn't want to go hunting is not going to teach it to go hunt. Okay, it's just going to teach it to follow you. And so they do need it for the first, 4 to 6 weeks that you take them out there. From, you figure, 8 to 10 weeks old, 12 weeks old, up to 4 months old, which is normally, right at 4 months, between 4 and 5 months is when I start carrying them to the woods at night, coon up. So, in conclusion, time with the pup. When it's in the dog box and it's introduced to the dog box and it's introduced to the woods, it's fun. There's no anything bad. You want to prevent anything bad happening to that pup. Everything should be fun. Everything should be something that the pup's going to look forward to. And then do that. Just keep doing that for those few weeks until it is ready to get in the dog box and go at night. Like I said, I don't like to walk the pups when I first start taking them hunting. I drive to a lot of my trees, so I will take that pup, put it back in the dog box. I will drive to the tree, and I'm not walking it to another dog's tree, especially if I plan on giving that dog a raccoon. I think that's another terrible thing to do with a young dog. A lot of people do it. A lot of people have some success, but to me, it just teaches them that they can follow me to a tree and they can get some reward and they can see cool things. And I don't want that. Under no circumstances do I want a dog following me to a tree. So it starts young. So yeah, from early age, get it used to its kennel, be around it every day, and start taking those short excursions. 2, 3, 4 times a week if you can. 1, 2, 3 hours, and just walk them around the woods. Get them used to crossing water, creeks, ditches, things like that. And you will be surprised at how well that pup progresses as we transfer into, that 4-month-old, 5-month-old range, and putting it in the dog box, driving it a little farther, and getting it turned loose in the dark. So that's pretty much it from 0 to 4 months. That is what I like to do. It won't be long. We'll have part 2. That is 4 months to 8 months. So that is when that puppy first starts hitting the woods with coon hunting on its mind. Part 3 will be 8 months to 12 months. And that is when that puppy really starts hunting by itself, being turned loose by itself, and that transition that it makes from being a puppy to a consistent coon dog. And my goal is to have that done in a year. That is not always the case, but most times at 12 months old, those pups are getting good at treeing coons by themselves. So you've seen all these pictures, all these videos. Most of these are Shane. I will do a quick montage here of Shane from birth to 4 months old. And then as we pick up part 2, part 3, you'll see Shane a lot from 4 months to 8 months, 8 months to 12 months. So hope you guys enjoyed it. That's how I raise my puppies, from birth to 4 months old. Part 2, like I said, 4 months to 8 months. Part 3, 8 months to 12 months. You guys stay tuned. You got any questions, make sure to leave a comment, leave a like. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and helps us get spread around. So yeah, take a look. Like I said, there's more than one way to do this. I'm just showing you my way, and so far so good. My success rate is really high, and I think this program works for just about every hound pup as far as just getting it from that weaned puppy or that born puppy to a year old and running and treeing its own raccoons on a consistent basis. So hope you enjoy. Make sure to thank the sponsors, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Want more great working dog action? Join CaneStream today and get exclusive and early access to some of our best content, like our Dog Life series, Kennel Talk, early access to Elite Handler Series events, and the Fueled by Joy Working Dog podcast, plus weekly product giveaways and other members-only perks. So join today and help us keep getting bigger and better for our amazing viewers.
As competitors, we are always looking for an edge. So let's get your edge at Elite Nutrition. Elite Nutrition has a myriad of products that can help our hardworking dogs compete to the best of their abilities. From Essential Dog to Canine Guard to you name it, many others. Elite Nutrition can help you keep that dog right where it needs to be and compete long term, especially if they have thyroid problems. That's right, Canine Thyroid is specifically designed to get that dog off those pills, to get those thyroid levels right and healthy, and to let it compete the way it's supposed to be. So go to tryelitenutrition.com or call 800-990-9926 and fuel your dog with Elite Nutrition supplements.
Hi everyone, Wade Graskowitz here, owner of Joy Pet Foods here in Illinois. Just want to reach out today and first of all, thank everybody that supports Joy Dog Food. We appreciate everything that every single customer for Joy does for us. We're still a small, family-owned Pet Food Company. USA made products, born and raised right here. Another reason I wanted to jump on here today is hunting season's in full swing, and this time of the year you'll learn that, and I did too, if you start seeing your dog with no stamina, no energy, weight loss, issues with the hair and the coat, and after 2 or 3 days your dog just doesn't want to come out of the dog box, guys, there's an issue. And I just want to challenge you guys, if you're not feeding Joy dog food, give us a try. I'm very confident that if you give us a try and you're feeding a product that you're not satisfied with or your dog's not satisfied with, once you try Joy dog food, you will not switch back. You won't. And if something happens and you're having issues, please pick up the phone and call 1-800-245-4125 and personally ask for me, Wade Graskowitz, the owner. And again, thank you very much for your support of Joy Dog Food.
So you got a coon dog puppy. What to do now? Now, if you guys have not went back and watched our birth to 4 months video, do that now, and that'll give you a little bit of basis on where we're getting ready to start here. But yeah, 4 to 8 months, probably for me personally, the most exciting time in that puppy's life. I mean, that's when they really start putting things, they're such babies still, but you can see it. You can see things starting to form. You can see things that, are going to be a credit or a detriment to that pup later on. And that's always the fun part, is finding out. So, yeah, we'll get started on what I like to do on pups from 4 to 8 months old. Now, keep in mind, these are usually pups that I have raised. So I've had them for 4 months already when this all starts. Usually have them from the time they're born until then. So it could be different than somebody that just goes and buys a started pup. Like I said, if you just got your hands on a 4, 5, 6 month old puppy, and maybe it's green as grass and it's, maybe a little or timid or shy, or it just isn't quite where you want it to be yet, you're going to have to just double your time with that pup. Instead of doing an hour or two in the evening or an hour and two at night, you're going to have to double it. Morning, night, get that pup used to you, get that pup used to being in different situations, because if it's been in a kennel all its life and it's 4, 5, 6 months old, you're already way behind the 8 ball. But today, we're just talking about dogs and that we've had all the way up until this age. So, yeah, stay tuned. Like I said, more than one way to skin a cat. I'm sure this is not the only way to get a dog where you want it, but it's how I do it, and it works year after year after year. So let me know what you think.
All right, so your foundation on your pup is set. You've done all the right things 0 to 4 months, and he is ready, or she is ready to progress. So, where do you start? Where do I like to start? The first thing I start doing with these dogs when they're babies like this is they get broke to lead and load and all that stuff. Not necessarily load. They're already used to the dog box. At 4 months old, they're not just jumping in the full size truck. But it is important that they are broke to lead, and for many reasons. Not just because you want to be able to snap a leash on that pup and get it back to the truck in a timely manner without it being all tangled up in your feet and a mess and freaking out and all that stuff. But you're going to have to tie that pup back a lot, its whole life. And so before it hits the woods at dark, you are going to it's where it will lead. It's used to its collar. It's used to being on a leash and all that stuff. And with me, that is just super easy. I've got 2 kids, and I've got a big yard that I can tie pups out in. And so It's simple. Put the collar on them. They're going to freak out a little bit when you first do it, but tie them up. Uh, Tie them out in the yard. You right there, not far from them, and just let them get used to being on that. A good smart pup will not take long. Uh, he will figure out uh, that he's on that tie out, and he will get used to it very quickly. Some of them struggle for a while, but they're going to flip and flop, and they're going to do wild stuff because they are not used to being tied up. But it will not take long. So what I do is I tie that pup every day for 10 minutes. I'll get it out of the kennel or pen or whatever, and let it get used to being tied out. Because, like I said earlier, that is going to be a big deal. And we also want to make sure and give that puppy some freedom too. This is at that age where these dogs are trying to really figure a lot of things out. They're exploring, they're learning to hunt, get out, move around, do things on their own. And I think that's important. Now, I am not a big fan of letting puppies just run loose. I know a lot of people are. You got a big place, big farm. You can let them run and figure out if they're going to be what they are supposed to be or not. A lot of great dogs I know have been, found just being turned loose on the farm, but it's not for me. To me, that creates way too many bad habits for that pup, and I don't know what that pup's doing all the time. And so, yeah, I let him run loose a lot. Usually, when I'm around, I prefer to let them have a couple hours a day. Uh, when they're 4 to 6 months old, through that stretch, and just let them run, let them be a pup, and then I want to kennel 'em. Now, as we get past probably 6 months, and the nights I don't hunt them, and I want to give them a couple hours of free time, and I have the ability to do that here where I live. I can just turn pups loose. I only do it at night. I will turn them loose at dark. I will go find them, put them up a couple hours later if I'm not hunting. So there's the stance on running loose because I know that's going to come up in the comments or questions. So I'll just go ahead and address that now. But like I said, your puppy, he knows how to lead, he knows how to be tied up, and he is ready to go to the woods on occasion. And at that age is when I really start carrying him quite a bit, not a lot, not 20 hours down the road or anything like that, but around the house, turn them loose, let them have some fun, and it's going to be an experience. We have been using Shane. You've seen all those pictures and all that stuff, and that is Shane. That is my 1-year-old pup right now that I am hunting, and raised from a baby. I'm using him for a lot of examples, and I'm going to show you now a video of Shane the first night I took him out in the dark, tracking collar on. He was about 4.5, 5 months old. Um, And this is pretty typical. Now, I've had dogs that, man, that first night out, they are with the old dog. They're doing all the stuff that would really surprise you of a pup. But what you're going to see out of Shame here is pretty typical. Yes, there are freaks. Yes, there's some that just start super quick. But what I did want to touch on is that I like sending them with an older dog from the get go, and I like sending them a certain way. I want to get that pup out. I want to get it right next to its mom, dad, kennel mate, whatever, dog it knows, pet it up really good, and turn them both loose at the same time. Now, that pup's not going to be able to keep up. If it does keep up, the dog you're turning it with is too slow. But I want to just get them in the habit of leaving hard. And you'll see in the next video, in the 8 to 12 months video, how hard these pups leave when you get to hunt them by themselves and they feel comfortable. So that's another stage in this game that I feel like by 12 months old, they should be treeing their own coon. Not, every time you turn them loose, they're not ready for a cast or anything like that, but you should have a pretty good chance at treeing a raccoon every time you turn that pup loose at a year old, in my opinion. And so I've had good success with that. So I follow this process, and this process is not difficult, but it is tedious. There are other little things that we like to do to encourage independence. I don't want them riding in the dog box with something. I don't like one of their kennel mates or another puppy running loose with them in the yard all the time. I want them to get used to being alone and get used to being with me. And so, yeah, what you're going to see here is Shane's first night out. We're going to talk a little bit more about what we do as that pup progresses and gets to where by 6 months old, they're leaving your feet a little bit. They're doing a little bit of something, you know. And by 8 months old, they should be gone pretty much all the time. Coming back to you is not an option unless you guys are into that kind of thing. Now, that being said, it is important to be able to catch your pup. They should know the difference between hear and get. One thing I do like to do is when I turn my dogs loose, I say get when I'm pleasure hunting. Um, and that way they know that, after a while they pick up. When dad says get, I'm not supposed to be standing here. I'm not supposed to be walling around on this track that I'm walling around on and all sorts of stuff like that. So come here and get out of here are the only two commands really a coon dog needs to know. And so make sure and use them, enforce them, all that stuff. But yeah, we'll get back into it. We will talk about 6 to 8 months, 5 to 8 months probably. And I'll show you what Shane looked like the first time we took him hunting. So as you can see, when you get that pup out that first time, everything is new. Everything is different, and it's a little overwhelming. And so we make it fun. We don't do anything crazy. We don't get onto them for not leaving. We don't, even get onto them for anything. We try to make sure that first experience is an enjoyable one because there is a lot going on in that pup's brain right there. What is this? Where are we? What are we doing? Holy cow, I've never seen anything like this before. And some of them absorb it differently than the others. Some of them deal with it differently than the others. What I do know is, especially with an intelligent puppy, one mistake can cost you dearly. One bad experience in these first, few nights in the woods will really set a pup backwards to the point that they may not make that 1 year deadline that I have for tree and coons alone. And so I've learned over the years in the pups that there is no correction for anything under any circumstances when you're out there. They can pull on the lead, they can bark in the box, they can do a few things that I would not tolerate on their first or second night out. Now, as those nights get going and they get more used to being there, you can tell by their body language, by their actions, how they look, that you've got it to where you can probably maybe nip some of that stuff in the bud. And so, and that's pretty much it. Up until 8 months old, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of, just finding new things and seeing new areas. I like to travel with my pup when they hit 6, 7 months old. I have the ability to do that because, of course, I drive all over the place. But the first, few trips especially are really fun. And then we just barely fix a few little things as far as manners and going hunting and stuff like that as you get on to 8 months old. Now, I will say that I do reward my dogs with coons quite often. Under no circumstances do I let a puppy chew on a coon that it backed. If it wasn't dead, set, alone, there is absolutely no reward. There's no pets, there's no good job, there's no attaboys. If it follows its mama in there a mile and trees every breath, all I do is tie that pup back and I reward the dog that did treat it. And if I don't know who treated it, I just don't do anything. I promise that won't be the last coon that they treat. Now, I like an independent pup. I want a dog that's going to get older and get by itself. And that is something we're going to dive really deep into in the next video. But you also have to remember that you're not correct. And if you do it right, you don't have to correct them for that. They will come by this naturally and they will want to be alone because they know that's where the reward is. So that's pretty much it. Those are pretty much the steps I take 4 to 8 months old. If you guys got any questions or comments, you can leave them there in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank all the members, all the sponsors. We really love doing these videos. And like I said, if you got any questions, leave them in the comments. We will do our best to answer promptly. So thanks for watching.
Want more great working dog action? Join CaneStream today and get exclusive and early access to some of our best content like our Dog Life series, Kennel Talk, early access to Elite Handler Series events, and the Fueled by Joy Working Dog podcast, plus weekly product giveaways and other members-only perks. So join today and help us keep getting bigger and better for our amazing viewers.
You've got your Coonhound puppy to 8 months old. You bought it, you've done it exactly how you were supposed to, and that dog is ready to roll. He's going hunting good with other dogs. He's doing all the stuff 8-month-olds are supposed to. Now what? Well, now a lot of the fun begins and a lot of the frustration. My goal with these pups is from 8 to 12 months old that they get pretty good at treeing raccoons by themselves. Now, living where I live and possibly where you live if you're watching this, year-round coon hunting is not feasible. Either you have a coon season that's only 2 or 3 months long, you're in the South and it is way too hot in late July to go hunt that pup by itself, or it is the North and it is January, February, and the raccoons aren't moving. It ain't going to do you any good to hunt him anyway. But there are some things that you can do to help that pup along. But remember, the goal with these pups, for me, for myself personally, and the reason I made this video, is from 8 months old to 12 months old is treeing raccoons alone. That is the goal. We're not worried about, racking up 500 with 3 coons by yourself in a hunt. We're not worried about, being a finished dog. We're just worried about getting good at going hunting first by yourself and treeing coons by yourself, or by itself, excuse me. So first part of that is going hunting. Now, as you've seen in the last few videos, there are times before 8 months old, depending on the pup, where I turn a puppy loose by itself, but I don't expect it. I don't expect it to just bust through there at 6.5, 7 months old and go tree a coon. Now, has that happened to me? Sure. I've had pups that did that. But odds are, from 8 to 12 months old, they're learning how to go hunting by themselves first. And that's important. That is one of the key things that I look for in a pup. How long does it take them to make that transition from being turned loose with dogs to busting through the dark like they're supposed to by themselves? So I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on how to do that first. Hopefully, you went through all the proper steps, from 8 weeks to 8 months, and you're at a position now where you can turn that puppy loose by itself. So first thing we want to do is turn it loose by itself and see what it does. Now, it is important with these young dogs, and I've done this myself, where they are coming along really well, and they are looking like a finished dog at a very young age. And I have a habit of treating them as such and expecting more. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to this. I'm always expecting more, and sometimes I'll get too hard on a pup. I'll overhunt them. I'll correct them too much. I'll correct them for too many things at one time, and they get tired of going out and going hunting with me. Now, that's not often. That's happened to me a couple times. Usually as they get older, you'll notice it. Believe it or not, what you do right now at 8 to 12 months old, 8 to 16 months old, is going to affect them at 3 or 4 years old. Okay, so do you want to bring them along quickly? Yes. Do you want to bring them along slowly? Yes. Yes, I know that's a contradiction, but it is important to take that pup and treat it like a pup. And the way to do that is to check yourself and to manage your expectations for that dog. And so here's what I do. At 8 months old, I start turning them loose alone. They are going to do some foolish things. They're going to stand by the truck. They're going to go out there 50, 60 yards and come back. And they're going to do just some things that will absolutely drive you crazy. And that's okay. That is to be expected. They are, after all, young dogs, young puppies. They're going to make some mistakes. And so the key is making sure that that pup leaves you and doesn't come back until it's called. That is your first goal, your first priority. And so we're going to work on all the bells and whistles after. The recut, the leave hard, the run the edges, the hunt as you, tree coons as you come to, all that stuff. You can work on all that later. But right now, we're just trying to get the pup to stay out of our light until it finds something to run. Now, at 8 months old, they probably ran tracks, they probably treed with old dogs, they've done all that stuff, hopefully, if everything goes right, that's what they're doing. And so now you're wanting to give them an easy coon by themselves and watch them grow and watch them get better. And so what I like to do at first is not drive that pup very far. Now, if you followed the last two videos, then you should know that, they're used to the dog box. They're probably used to travel right now at 8 months old. But I like to just drive them as close as I can, uh, get them out, turn them loose in a place that they've been turned loose in a few times so they're a little more comfortable, a little more familiar, and just see what happens. You let them run around, you let them be a pup, you let them do stupid stuff. And then if they're still around you in 5, 10 minutes, you put them back in the dog box. You drive back to the house, you get a dog that will go hunting, and you watch it, you let that pup watch it leave and go hunting and get treed and frustrate that pup. Take that dog back. I don't like to leave them in the dog box because a pup's going to want to just be around that dog box waiting for you to take that dog out, that old dog out. I take the old dog back, put it back in the kennel, take the pup back out to a different spot, fairly close, turn it loose again, let it see what happens, or see what happens, and maybe it'll help encourage that pup along. If they don't go hunting that time, which oftentimes they don't, throw them back in the box, take them home. That's it. That's all you do for a while. Eventually, that pup is going to figure out that if I don't leave him, I'm not going to do anything but get back in that truck. And here's what they're going to do. They're going to start ranging out a little farther for a little longer. But every time they come back, put them right back in that dog box. Frustration is the key to training animals. If they are frustrated, they are probably going to work harder and hustle harder than what they would if they're not. So that's it. There's repercussions for everything. Your repercussion for not going anywhere is getting back in the truck. That's it. And so, do they get in a bad habit of, going out real hard, not getting struck, and then coming back and then, kind of staying in that funk for a while? I've seen that. I've seen that where a dog will continuously hit that 300-400 yard mark and then come back and be wagging its tail and be happy to get in the truck because it thinks it's going to go somewhere else. That is the key right there to go get that other dog and turn it loose. Now, as that dog gets older, you can take that pup and that old dog at the same time, kick that pup loose by itself. If it wants to hang around the vehicle or the truck, or you tie it up where you catch it, get that dog out of the truck, the dog that will go hunting, line it right next up to that pup that's right there on the leash, and cut it loose and leave it there. That old dog gets treed real quick in there. Leave that pup tied to wherever it's tied. Go in there, make a big ruckus at the tree. If you have the ability, shoot the coon out, let that pup hear it, get it frustrated. Let it know that if it is around that truck, it's not going to get to do anything. And so eventually, I can't think of an instance where this hasn't worked over my last 13 or 14 pups. Eventually, they just figure it out. They realize that there is no fun around me. All the fun is out there in the dark. Now, they're going to come along with this at a different rate. They're not going to just 2 or 3 nights of this, bust through there and do what you want. Some of them are going to go the first night. I had pups that were singled out at 6 months old, 6.5 months old, 7 months old, and cut loose and go hunting right away. It's pretty common throughout most of the Walker breed anymore. These young dogs are so well bred and are so smart that they figure it out pretty quick. And they're bold, they've got a really high prey drive, so it's not as big of a problem. And there's also those ones that just do not seem to get it, and they're going to take a while. But to go back to the point that I made earlier, do not get onto that pup too hard yet. You're going to make a bad experience every time he goes hunting by himself, where he's scared or he's timid or he's not having any fun whatsoever, and he's going to lock up and he's going to go backwards. Then you're going to have to start mixing other old dogs in with him and all that stuff. So yeah, stay on that until they go hunting good by themselves. And once they do start going by hunting good by themselves, that's for me when the real fun starts. Yeah, they're not going to make many treats. Yeah, they're going to run a bunch of junk. Yeah, they're going to do stupid pup stuff. But that is because they are hustling. They are out there. Every footstep your puppy takes away from you in the dark at night, he is learning something. It may be bad, may be good, but he's learning something. We can deal with that in the months to come. As long as they go hunting and they are trying to run something and they are out there doing something, you are progressing. It may not seem like it sometimes, but you're progressing. You're going to have a lot of nights where that dog does not get treed and it runs and runs and runs for hours. That's why recall is important. When you got to get up for 6 o'clock for work in the morning, and that pup's been running and won't come back, and you can't get him caught and all that stuff, that's going to get you frustrated at the pup. And unlike a puppy or a dog, frustration is not not key to success with the handler. And so, yeah, we've talked about recall in the first couple of videos. So it's important that that dog knows two things: come here and get out of here. Okay, those are keys. Come, get, the rest we can work with. But yeah, you're going to have some frustrating nights. But eventually that dog's going to run over a coon that it just cannot help but tree. It's going to strike a red hot one. It's going to be right there. It's going to stay. You're going to get there. You're going to reward that pup. And pretty soon, he's going to make a habit. He is going to make a habit of going out, treeing coons. Sometimes, then it's going to get to multiple coons a night. And then it's going to get to where that dog's pretty good at treeing coons by itself, and it's going to be need to put back in a crowd. Now, I've had certain puppies from 8 to 12 months old that I mixed in a crowd and then hunted alone a majority of the time, but would mix it in with 1 or 2 dogs every now and then. I think that's probably a good route to go. You do not want to spend 4 months of that dog not seeing another dog while he's out in the woods. That will make them completely blow up when you do put them back with dogs. And so while you're doing this process, not often, it doesn't have to be 50-50. I prefer 2 or 3 nights alone to 1 night with dogs. So you're looking at, 25-30% of the time, turn it loose with at least a dog. And it is important that you do all the things that we talked about in the first couple of videos where you're not rewarding him or her for being with dogs. And then that helps in the long run as that dog gets older and gets put back in the crowd after this 1-year-old mark. So the key is frustration. The key is getting that dog to go hunting by itself and then getting that dog good at treeing coons by itself. And so that's the goal for 8 to 12 months. That's not the goal for all coon dogs. I want a dog that's very good in the crowd. I want a dog that's independent. I want a dog that recuts well. I want a dog that hustles, despite what's going on around it, travels well, all that good stuff. And these are the foundations, these are the basis for this. But it is important that this 8 to 12-month-old stretch, that they get good at treeing coons alone. They're not completely isolated, and they get very good at going hunting by themselves. Now, the recut is going to happen between 8 and 12 months old. Eventually, that pup's going to make a mistake. I encourage to recut often while you're bringing this pup along with other dogs too. But just gets them in the habit of getting turned loose off a tree. If you're going to competition hunt that dog, do not spot hunt. I don't care if it's 3 months old or 5 years old. That does no good for that dog. It creates such terrible habits. Make sure and recut the pup throughout this whole process as you're hunting with other dogs, and then especially when you get to hunting by itself. Now, these pups aren't going to want to recut, especially off the live coon that they just treed. Okay, so first thing to do, I don't care if you have to walk a half mile, start walking. If you're wanting to recut that pup, start walking. You'll know when that pup wants to go hunting again. Okay, when you're pulling them off the leash, you're pulling them off the tree with the leash, and they're pulling backwards toward the tree, pulling backwards toward the tree. Eventually, they're going to start pulling forward, and then they're going to pick their head up. And then they're going to put it back on the ground. They're going to pick their head up. Find an edge. Find some place that is very good for that pup that he can see a good 30, 40, 50 yards at least. I prefer he can see forever. If I can find an old road to recut him down, if I can find the bottom of a creek to recut him down, if I can find him just a field path with thickets on each side, Because when you start that recut, you want that dog going forward and leaving hard. And if you've got a barrier on each side of him, his natural tendency is to go forward. He don't want to go right, he don't want to go left, because the pup should want to move around at a pretty good clip. And so try to find an edge, try to find something. A creek is perfect. If you can get a shallow creek or a ditch and you can get them out it, because they're going to want to go behind you. They're going to want to do all kinds of goofy things when you first start recutting these pups. And so walk a good piece until that pup has forgot about that last tree, until he's pulling on the leash just a little bit to get away from you. He wants to go forward. He wants to go forward. Tap him on the side a couple times. Tell him to get when you recut him. And that way, if you're in a creek or you're in the side of a field or something like that, you have better odds of when he wants to wheel around and go behind you, you can cut him off. He does that. You put the leash back on him, jerk on it real hard a couple times, pull him back out, recut him forward. If he does make it a problem where he's constantly wanting to go, and I've seen this out of 4-year-old dogs, let alone baby puppies, where they're constantly wanting to go behind you, just get you a stick, a little switch, nothing like this. You're not going to smack him with it or anything like that, but you're just going to give him a tap on the nose when he turns around and tries to get behind you. You're going to jerk him around, put him back the way you want him to go, and tell him to get. You can smack that thing on your leg. You can make some noise. Your pup by now should know what get means. Get him leaving hard, going forward. And this is important when you're cutting this dog loose out of the truck too. Don't cut it loose in some woods that's so thick it can barely get in it. If you want a dog that leaves hard and recuts good, get it to a place where it can leave hard and recut. There's nothing I hate worse than coming off a tree in a hunt and walking your minute and you can't find a good spot in the minute where that dog can get away from you in a hurry. I would rather find an edge. I'd rather find a creek bank. I'd rather find a mowed path, somewhere deer trail, even somewhere wide open where that dog can see forward and get gone. And so that's important, because this recut is going to happen between 8 and 12 months old several times. And they are really going to frustrate you on it. They're going to go back to trees. They're going to go the wrong way. They're not going to leave hard. But if you keep doing the same thing and you're consistent with it from this 8 to 12-month-old range when you're trying to recut this pup, you will be so thrilled when you turn that pup loose in a cast when it's 16, 17, 18 months old. Pull it off its first tree, walk it a minute, recut, and see that thing zoom through there. It's important. Some dogs are natural recutters. The 2 I have right now, Ralph, Shame, they recut great. Shame was just because of how I hunted him when he was a baby. You line him up next to dogs, they leave hard, foot racing, all that stuff. I think he just naturally picked that up as he got older. And Ralph, pretty much the same way. They're good about forgetting their last treat and going on. And that is such a weapon when you get that dog to a certain age and it gets to where you need that recut to win that money. So yeah, main thing, be consistent. Get the pup somewhere it can move around good, that's got a lot of coon tracks, and just hunt it. Get it going good by itself. Once that dog goes hunting by itself, it is a deep sigh of relief, because I know it's all downhill from here. All the hard part is done. That pup will leave hard and go hunting the rest, and it may take 2 months, it may take 10. But if they're going hunting, they'll get it figured out. They're making progress every step they take out there away from you. So you get it going, you keep recutting it, it gets to tree and coons. Sounds easy, doesn't it? And it is, if you keep your dog frustrated and you don't frustrate yourself. Easier said than done, but that's the key. Remember, stay consistent, keep your pup frustrated, don't frustrate yourself, and you will have a lot of success from 8 to 12 months old. So, thanks for watching. That is our 8 to 12-month-old training tips video. If you have not checked out 0 to 4 months and 4 to 8 months, go do that. I will put all 3 of these together eventually and make them one video. That way, from 0 to a year old, which is the most fun I have with dogs, you guys will have a little bit of an idea on how I go about getting these dogs to tree coons alone. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks to all the members, all the subscribers. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, all that stuff, because that does help us in more ways than you can know. So I'm Josh Michaelis signing out. Keep that pup in the woods, and good luck.